Your roadmap to the latest in auto, welcome to Highway Herald. Today, we're shifting gears from the garage to the global stage as Mexico stuns the world with a diplomatic power move. Facing Trump's aggressive tariff threats, Mexico's new president, Claudia Sheinbaum, didn't flinch. Instead of economic chaos, she ignited a surge of national unity. Through firm diplomacy, mass rallies, and savvy leadership, Sheinbaum transformed a looming crisis into a strategic win. What unfolded behind closed doors? Buckle up. This was more than politics. It was a high-stakes, high-torque geopolitical showdown. The opening gambit, Trump's tariff threats and Sheinbaum's calm response. It all started when former President Donald Trump throttled forward with a renewed threat, 25% tariffs on Mexican imports. The list? A laundry line of essential goods, agricultural products, steel, energy, and notably, automotive parts, a blow that could shake both nations' supply chains. But instead of slamming on the brakes, President Sheinbaum gripped the wheel and steered with confidence. Her response wasn't one of retaliation. It was a carefully tuned balance of pride and strategy. She called for a massive public rally in Mexico City's Zocalo Square, not as an angry protest, but as a unifying celebration of sovereignty. Her words? "We will not capitulate. We will retaliate if necessary, but we value respect and diplomacy." Unlike Canada's more reactionary stance in past tariff standoffs, Sheinbaum remained composed, never resorting to personal jabs or heated rhetoric. That restraint paid off. Trump, surprisingly deferential, delayed the tariff rollout until April 2nd, noting his respect for Sheinbaum, a courtesy he didn't extend to Canada's Prime Minister Trudeau. And that rally? It wasn't just political theater. With over 350,000 Mexicans rallying behind her in Zocalo, the tone shifted nationwide, from anxiety to admiration. The event became symbolic of how diplomacy could rev up national pride. Her approval ratings? Up to 85%, turbocharged by her handling of the crisis. But Sheinbaum wasn't just steering public sentiment. She was also working behind the scenes to fine-tune Mexico's countermeasures. Under the hood, Mexico's tactical push and industry backfire. While Claudia Sheinbaum captured the public spotlight, her administration was fine-tuning its strategy behind the scenes. The Mexican Foreign Ministry sent formal warnings to Washington, signaling that counter-tariffs were primed and ready. With nearly 3 million vehicles exported annually to the U.S., Mexico's auto sector, the lifeblood of its trade engine, was front and center. But Mexico didn't just rely on threats. It leveraged powerful lobbying pressure inside the U.S. itself. Sheinbaum's team quietly connected with American lawmakers, automakers, and farming groups to highlight the economic shockwaves a tariff war would trigger. The message? Hitting Mexican goods would cripple U.S. supply chains and jack up consumer prices. American automakers, heavily dependent on Mexican components and labor, publicly pushed for a delay. Any production hiccup south of the border meant stalled assembly lines stateside. Meanwhile, farmers in pro-Trump regions like Texas and California feared devastating blowback if Mexico retaliated on agriculture. This mounting pressure worked. Trump hit the brakes, delaying tariffs and granting a temporary exemption to automakers. It wasn't just Mexico flexing muscle. It was a calculated coalition of cross-border commerce forcing a rethink in Washington. That quiet storm of strategy ran parallel to Sheinbaum's own political momentum, and it's clear her public image was shifting just as fast. Before we delve deeper, we'd appreciate it if you could subscribe to Highway Herald. Your support fuels our passion to create more content like this. Now let's explore our next insight. A populist with precision, Sheinbaum's rise in the driver's seat. From being mayor of Mexico City to steering the nation through a potential trade war, Claudia Sheinbaum has become a household name. Her blend of populism and pragmatism has given her a wide lane of support. Unlike her predecessor, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, Sheinbaum isn't all fire and flare. She brings a scientist's logic to the political fast lane. Her key message during this high-octane standoff was clear. Mexico is not a junior partner in North American trade. She framed the narrative not as defiance, but as dignity. "We will not bow to foreign pressure," she proclaimed, a line that echoed like a high-compression engine through the hearts of everyday citizens. Even critics admit her playbook worked. She unified both the left and the right, boosted investor confidence, and even earned praise from Trump himself. Financial analysts, including Barclays, noted that Sheinbaum's calculated diplomacy could very well prevent a full-scale economic blowout. Her measured tone didn't end with speeches. Next came a bold reminder of Mexico's real leverage: energy, migration, and trade muscle. Fuel, borders, and bold moves. Mexico's trade arsenal. Claudia Sheinbaum's strategy wasn't all speeches. Mexico came prepared with real economic firepower. Key among them? Oil and auto exports. With U.S. refineries relying on Mexican crude and cross-border supply chains fueling the auto industry, Sheinbaum's government hinted it could restrict energy flows or tax critical vehicle components if provoked, tightening the screws on U.S. production. Migration also entered the negotiation arena. In response to U.S. pressure on border security and fentanyl, Sheinbaum deployed 10,000 National Guard troops to the northern frontier. February saw a sharp drop in migrant crossings, but her administration framed the move around humanitarian responsibility, not submission. Meanwhile, Sheinbaum scored domestic points with sharp, subtle jabs at U.S. policies, highlighting how American firearms fuel violence in Mexico, and even poking fun at Google's temporary map label change from Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America. These moments boosted her popularity without crossing into open hostility. To keep the pressure up, Sheinbaum set a clear deadline. If tariffs aren't revoked by April 2nd, Mexico will unveil its full retaliation playbook on April 3rd. It's a diplomatic pause, but also a clear warning. Mexico's sovereignty is not up for negotiation. But with that deadline approaching fast, the question remains, will this calm last? Gears grinding, the countdown continues. Although the temperature has dropped for now, the pressure is building. Trump's administration hasn't clarified its next move. Some officials claim the tariffs are off the table, others say they're simply paused. Either way, Mexico is revving in neutral, ready to shift into action. Behind closed doors, Sheinbaum's team has drafted a detailed hit list: retaliatory tariffs on American agriculture, machinery, and select companies. The goal isn't to punish U.S. citizens, it's to apply pressure where it counts, in industries that matter most. Economic analysts warn that if this standoff turns into a full-blown trade war, both countries will take damage. Auto workers, manufacturers, and farmers on both sides of the border could see ripple effects. Still, Sheinbaum's message remains: short-term strain is worth long-term sovereignty. Yet, in true diplomatic fashion, she's still open to the table. Communications with U.S. trade officials continue. She emphasizes that the USMCA agreement is still the guiding framework. But she's also been crystal clear: if they try this again, we will respond the same way. And as tensions edge closer to April, one final question looms. Was this a strategic win, or just the first lap? Verdict: a tactical victory or a temporary truce? This chapter may not be the final act, but what's undeniable is that Sheinbaum has pulled off a tactical victory, turning looming economic turbulence into a unifying national moment. Her approach was firm, strategic, and layered with economic know-how. Instead of launching immediate counterattacks, she leveraged timing, messaging, and industry alliances. Financial markets took notice, her popularity soared, and even Trump, rarely one to hand out compliments, took a step back out of respect. But is this just a pit stop before the real race begins? Or has Mexico proven that measured diplomacy can outmaneuver brute threats? Before you go, let's talk auto and strategy. Do you think Mexico's leverage in oil and auto parts was its biggest advantage in this standoff? Was Sheinbaum's calm strategy more effective than Trudeau's previous approach to U.S. tariffs? Should countries like Mexico continue engaging diplomatically, even when threatened with economic pressure? How would a trade war impact North American vehicle production in the long run? And what's your take? Was this a one-off win, or the start of a new kind of leadership in global trade? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear from fellow enthusiasts, gearheads, and policy followers. And hey, if you enjoy deep dives like this into where engines meet international headlines, make sure to subscribe to Highway Herald so you never miss the next twist in the road. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next update. You can now check out any of the videos on the screen. There's more exciting and informative content waiting for you.